The views and opinions expressed on Lifeguards Off Duty are those of its hosts and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, the Jersey Shore #1 lifeguard-themed video podcast.
Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever streaming service you prefer.
If you would like to contact us, send an email to drkachmar@icloud.com. Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
All right, let's get started.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
She said they're gonna lock you up for killing me tonight. And then I bit her lip just a
Now, this is the thing. Over the years, there's been this controversy whether or not in New Jersey lifeguards are entitled to overtime pay. Over 40 hours, you get overtime pay. So it's been back and forth, yes, no. And I've been talking to Tim Hartman for a while. And our beach patrol, by the way, Seaside Heights, we've been paying overtime for quite a few years. I don't know, how many other beach patrols have, but we're going to talk about it now because basically the cat's out of the bag. So let's go to the my iPad, please. So here's here's the article that came out that kind of broke it all. So this is Jim Walsh. This is out of the Courier Post, and this is published October 28th, 2022. Shore towns say they didn't know lifeguard OT pay change. They're on the hook for $400,000. So if you look here, a state agency has ordered the payment of more than $400,000 in overtime to lifeguards in 3 South Jersey towns. The decision affects 347 lifeguards in Atlantic City, Avon, and Stone Harbor, according to the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development. But officials in Avon and Stone Harbor are faulting the state government, saying they were not told that a 2019 law made seasonal lifeguards eligible for overtime. So 19, 20, 21, 22. We've been paying it when it came out. Our town attorneys, determined that that's what the case was. And not for nothing, Seaside Heights has always been, we've been pretty good on. I think we've always been ahead of the curve.
We've always had the best attorneys.
Yeah, that too. The borough of Stone Harbor had no idea that the law had changed. Municipal spokesman Bob Smith said in a statement, there was no communication from the state, nor was this information included in local finance note. We didn't expect a phone call or a tap on the shoulder, but some sort of heads up from the Department of Labor would have been welcome. So anyway, blah, 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 wage did not require, so lifeguards previously were subject to federal law, that did not require overtime pay for town season employees. And
So so 4 towns in New Jersey did not know that they'd be paying overtime and weren't?
there was a lot of other towns.
There's more?
Yeah. Well, no. I don't know how many towns were paying overtime and weren't. The state,
I'm saying according to the article you just read.
No, they're just saying those 3 towns that they
Okay.
cited. Now, with the article, if you continue on here, let me go here. So here's it going. The Department of Labor said lifeguard complaints prompted its investigation overtime practice 3 towns. The largest department underpaid was Atlantic City, $197,000. I'm going to go forward here with the article, but if you keep on reading here, there's I don't know if I have it here. What they did, there's another article out there. You could go back to me. They've gone to now the state of New Jersey, Department of Labor has contacted over 57 beach patrols. So they're contacting everybody, okay? And they're asking for records on their overtime pay. And they also, the other thing that they cited, they didn't have it in this article, is that they also found the lifeguard departments were deficient in monitoring underage. So anybody under 18 has to have working papers, and you have to document their in and out of the time. In other words, when they clocked in, when they have go out on a lunch break, and when they come back in. That also has to be documented, and also you have to again have your records and pay overtime. So every town is being investigated now. How many towns are going to have to pay overtime? Depends if they didn't pay it. If they haven't been paying overtime since 2019, they are in the rears, and they are probably going to have to be forced to pay. So you know, that's, you understand that? Now, why is there all of this confusion? Because that's really the key, you know, what's going on here. So let me find another article here, and I'm going to go here. And I just want to show you, let me get this, the Labor Department, the government.
I mean, if we had to take a guess, some towns didn't want to have to pay extra money.
I don't know if they knew about it or not, because here's the controversy. We talked about, listen, I have conversations with lifeguards, captains, and chiefs over the past years, and what it boils down to is this. This is where the controversy was, if they knew it, and I'm going to show you. The federal government, there's an opinion letter from the Department of Labor. This is the federal government.
Are you got that on your iPad?
Yes, we got that.
Would you like me to pull that up?
Yes, pull this up right here. So, and let me make a point. So this is
figuring out the hotkeys over here.
Look at you.
This is from the federal government. The federal government basically says that lifeguards are seasonal and they're not entitled to overtime pay. Okay, there's not an exemption. You got to understand, the federal government, most people who work are entitled to overtime pay.
Federal government is saying lifeguards
are exempt.
Okay.
We should see what Chip Moore has to say about this stuff.
No, this is all he does. I talked to him about it. This is where the problem was. What happened was, though, the federal government says lifeguards are not exempt from overtime pay. That's the law. But the state of New Jersey in 2019 changed their law, the state law. You understand? So the state law says lifeguards are not exempt from overtime pay and they need to get it. So there's where the conflict is. People were reading the federal law and they weren't reading the state law. I'm going to show you both, okay? But basically here, this is term seasonal amusement occupation shall mean any activity as an employee in an establishment which exclusively an amusement recreation does not operate more than, you know, blah, 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 blah. But basically, if you go here, the term this might be the state here, penalties. So camps and beaches. So this is, I'm trying to say, oh, this is the New Jersey state. So here it is here. This is New Jersey one. I'll get the federal government in a minute. So there's New Jersey. The term shall pertain to amusement rides, device operators, cashiers who sell tickets here. The term does not pertain to camps, beach, and swimming facilities, movie theaters, theatrical productions, athletic events, professional, on and on.
The key is beach.
So basically, the only people who get exemption to the overtime would be people who work like on a boardwalk on a ride. Okay, this is the state of New Jersey right here. This is
so if they work on a ride, you can just let them rot in that little box.
Yes, yes. But it
just so happens that a lot of people that work there are Russian and from overseas.
I don't know. That's a good question. Why did they carve that? Because right now, this is who has to get overtime. The term shall pertain to. So this is overtime. You're exempt. Amusement rides and amusement device operators, cashiers who sell tickets for the rides and devices, and operators of game concessions, but shall not include retail, eating, or drinking concessions. This term does not pertain to camps, beach, and swimming facilities. There's where it is right there. Movie theaters, theatrical excuse me, that's a hard time saying. Athletic events, professional entertainment, pool and billiard parlors, outdoor shows, sport activities, country club athletic facilities, bowling alleys, racetracks, and the like facilities which are not part of the diverse amusement enterprise. So basically, anybody who is in those situations needs to be paid overtime.
How many of bowling alleys, country club athletic facilities, sports activities, how many of these are attractive nuisances?
Right. Let me ask you this, though. Follow this one, too. Here, look at this one here. Wow. This is minors under 18 of age must be paid minimum wage when employees in occupations covered by this statute. Seasonal amusement occupation is covered by a different code and does not require minors under 18 of age to be paid the minimum wage. It's pretty interesting. So you could get at it. So this is the New Jersey. So New Jersey specifically states, right now, since 2019, you have to pay lifeguards overtime. Okay? You have to. You follow me?
That wasn't there was nothing before 2019?
Not state. The only one who you had was federal. I'm going to pull up the federal. So let me
Cash,
go.
can you turn the volume down on my headphones? Just on my headphones.
Good. Does
Feels
that
like
feel better?
Oh my God! Yeah, you've been screaming in my ears this whole.
So here's the now this is the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, this is a letter, an opinion letter. Okay, and this was
Written by whom?
This was I'll tell you in a minute. And this was actually, I don't know who it was written by, but it was sent out here. Alexander J. Pasquarino, acting.
Pasantino.
All right, so let me just read this here. So this was a letter that he sent out because somebody asked him about lifeguards. This is dated January 14, 2009. Again, so if you read here.
Oh, this is old.
Yeah, but it's, it goes here. This is in response to your request for an opinion regarding whether the minimum wage and overtime exemption for seasonal amusement or recreational establishments in the Fair Labor Act's, right, Fair Labor Standards Act, which is FLSA, applies to lifeguards at town beaches. It is our opinion that this exemption applies to these lifeguards, which means they're exempt from overtime pay.
This is a dude that wears a suit in an office that is so removed from what is happening to think that these kids don't deserve overtime pay.
Mm-hmm.
Prick.
So
seriously.
So I just want people to understand, this is where the rift was. People were looking at this and going, oh no, you don't, he says it's an opinion. But they don't look at the state statute. Now, what I asked the lawyers is that, there's a supremacy law in the world, in the United States. So the federal government's supposed to be supreme over state laws. If it's say like
I thought it was the other way around. The states have the right to make their own laws.
No,
they do. But here's the thing. Let's just say let's say with civil rights laws,
I can make my own laws, but the government like they used to do in California with the medical dispensaries.
The drinking age is 21.
No, there's certain. But here's the thing.
You can go over it, but you can't go under it. Now.
Right. So in other words, if the federal government says the drinking age is 21, right, you can't go under, but you could go over and say, okay, 22. It's 22. So
what a jerk state that would be, right?
Oh, but here my point is that the state of New Jersey is actually making it theoretically more beneficial for workers, more protection. So the federal government's kind of like on it. So I can
jive with that.
This is an article here. I want people to go to this. This is FLSA 2009-5, and this is a letter. And you guys could read it, and it goes. It talks about several places of business. So it says, as used in the FLSA, the term establishment, and you got all these things here, and recreational. It goes through the whole thing again. And so the fact that some of the lifeguards may work more than 7 months in the year, maintain the equipment, would not serve to deny the exemption under the section. Provided the establishment beach is not as a recreation facility, protected swimming for more than 7 months in a year. Basically, this is what they looked at, okay? I just want to give you this. This is why there's confusion. I don't think it's any collusion on the beach patrol's part, but you have to understand that's how it came down. And
I mean, yeah, why would I as a beach patrol pay overtime when I wasn't required to by law?
Right.
It's not their fault.
Right. So let me just go with this now. What's the big deal about this? And let me just make sure I have everything here. So this was labor. That was the government. We went through that. That's
seasonal amusement occupations.
No, I want to go here. So don't put this on you. So now, so go to whiteboard. So we talked about U.S. Department of Labor. So in U.S. Department of Labor says lifeguards don't get overtime. That's a 2009 opinion letter. And you know who was right on with this? Was Tim Harmon. The guy knows his stuff. The law, the seasonal amusement occupation section of the state New Jersey labor law is very specific. Lifeguards, no matter how many hours they work, they need overtime after 40 hours. That's the law. And now they just cited 3 beaches so far, and they're looking at every other beach. So every other beach is going to be evaluated. State's going to evaluate them, and if they are not doing it, they're going to get have to pay back taxes, whatever. Now, what is this going to mean, and what's going to happen? So what if you're a beach patrol now? What are you going to do about this? Like, how would you, how are you going to deal with this? You can't. Say the town comes back to you and says you can't hire these people more than 40. I don't want to work. I don't want a lifeguard working more than 40 hours. What do you do now?
Hire more lifeguards.
Okay, but how if you don't get them?
And then
What if you don't get them? What if you can't? I mean, we're having a hard time getting lifeguards. Now you can't have overtime, or the town's going to have to pay overtime. But let's just say,
put less stands on the beach.
okay, what do you think, Sean? What's your, how well?
That's not my serious answer, by the way.
No,
What I think they should do, or what I think they will do.
both.
We started opening up later at our beach to
Don't say what we do.
cut down on pay.
Don't say.
We do.
All right. All right, good. All right.
I'm going to stand by Sean's statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
we
all right.
we open an
Publicly.
hour later
We stand either we stay together. What is it? We hang together, or we hang separately. I guess I'll just stand with him too. That's what the founding. That's what that was a famous.
All right, little rebellion happened.
That was that was the
studio right now.
that was when they signed the Declaration of Independence. They were.
It sounded like you just called it the Declaration of Dependence.
No.
What would that? How would that letter read?
But what
Not good.
Ben Franklin said, he said, he goes, nothing but this, bring everybody together, because if you don't bring everybody together, they said if you don't hang together, we'll hang separately. Anyway, so let's go. What I think it could happen. Here's what I want to make sure, because this is the thing that I don't want to happen. The town's going to have pressure to keep the overtime down. Why? Because they're going to have to pay more money. So think about it. If
they're going to try and find ways to cut hours and limit overtime.
Right. And that's exactly right. Because if you had 50 lifeguards now, and say half of them were doing overtime, the town's going to say no, and then that means you're not going to have enough lifeguards. And so you could get more lifeguards, but there's a sweet point where it's going to cost you more or less. You could reduce the amount of beach time, like you said, open up later. Most beaches have lifeguards on the beach at 9 o'clock, but they open up at 10. But is there coverage there? The other thing you could do is close beaches. You could, start later in the season, close earlier in the season. Whatever, there's things. But I want to put down what does the state of New Jersey say as far as the law on what you can do, what's required, what's the bare minimum of lifeguards that need to be on the beach.
What is the bare minimum?
Okay,
of
go to
lifeguards,
my,
Cash
go to
I knew
this.
you were
Okay.
ready for this.
So this is the New Jersey Health Department. This is under bathing beach supervision. This is section 8 dash, I think 26-5, section 10. Now here's the key. Lifeguard requirements as follows. This is key. Section C, paragraph or line 1. At least one lifeguard for every 300 feet of designating bathing area shall be on duty at all times when an ocean or bay bathing beach is in operation. Now, listen, but then it goes, here's where it gets confusing. Look at line 2. At least 2 lifeguards for every 300 feet of designating bathing beach shall be on duty at times when any other beach is in operation, except when the designated bathing beach is less than 100 feet, when only one lifeguard is required. Now, I've talked to the lawyers about this. Let me make sure what we understand here, because this is where the beaches are going to say, oh, if you have one beach, like a bay beach, one beach, 100 feet, whatever.
Up to 300, it sounds like.
No. Yeah, you could have 300 feet, right. But one beach, you could have one lifeguard, okay? And that's it. Now, if you have a beach like any other beach where there's multiple, there's half a mile of beach and you have multiple stands, you need to have 2 lifeguards on duty for each stand. Okay, you can't just all of a sudden say we're going to have one lifeguard. Like in whatever beach you're talking about, you have to have 2 lifeguards on duty. Now, the question here is on duty, and I talked to a bunch of captains, and on duty means that you're on the payroll. You could be working out. You don't have to be on the lifeguard stand.
Is that what on duty means?
Well, this is interpretation that we all take. Like, listen, we have breaks. Everybody does breaks. I'll go down and sit on a stand. You have the guys up in the headquarters. You guys working out. So you could. I looked at everybody, and everybody says, "Hey, listen, you can't. You know, you don't need. I mean, what happens when you get off the bench and go down to deal with a hole or talk to somebody? You know.
Well, you're on the beach.
Yeah, right. You're on duty, so
Yeah,
on
but, like,
duty.
is being on lunch, being on duty.
Well, I think if you're having a lunch at the headquarters, again, that's a good point, Sean, and that's kind of vague what that really means.
It's definitely vague.
Right, but you better have 2 lifeguards who are on the payroll,
Yeah.
whether or not they're on a stand or not.
Yeah.
Now, let me keep going here, and that the other thing, these 2 paragraphs, that means that you have to have a lifeguard stand, which is lifeguards, because it does have in here that you have to be on a lifeguard stand. 300 feet. That's every 300 feet. Can't be 400 feet every 300 feet. So you have them. You could have them less, but you can't have them.
So 1 MetLife.
Right. So you have to. So additionally, now listen to this though. Additional lifeguards shall be required. Now, when you understand something, when you say shall, it's not may, it's shall, which means you better.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall be required depending
Shall.
upon bather
see,
load.
sure.
Listen to this. Upon bather load, currents, tides, contour or slope of the beach, and any other condition which may cause change in water conditions. So think about it. You got a packed beach or you got rough ocean. The state of New Jersey is saying you may need more than 2 lifeguards. Just throwing it out there. Okay. Now
That's a weird one.
yeah. Now, you know, there's other stuff here. All lifeguards shall be identified by distinguishing apparel emblems. Here's another thing. Lifeguards who are assigned to supervision of the bathing beach shall not have duties. I like this one. Lifeguards who are assigned to supervision of the bathing beach shall not have duties that would distract or intrude upon their attention from proper observation of persons in the water. So, you know, there was one beach that got sued. They had the kids putting umbrellas in, and a kid drowned. A person drowned. So they sued. They got $22 million. I heard it's a big case.
Damn.
Also, you know, each lifeguard should be equipped with a whistle. This is state now. There was another thing here. I'm just looking here. Lifeguards, list of emergency. This is all stuff here, but here, rules for bathing beachers. There's one here that says this lifeguard stand needs to be, talks about surfboards, you know, what you got to have. It's pretty interesting stuff here. Eligible, but can you see, Sean, or I'm looking here.
I can't see it all. I'm way over here.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to see. There's a spot here that talks about you need to have the lifeguard stand 30 feet from the water's edge. Okay?
Which is an ever-changing
right. Well, you know,
spot.
and I think that with that, let me just find it here. I think with that, you have some leeway, and because, you know, it's changing, you have to move it around, and but you understand where you could see now that this could be misinterpreted to where, oh, we're only going to have 1 lifeguard on the stand. I don't know if anybody is going to take it to that point. That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, here. I'm just trying to see. Did you see anything here? I'm going to go. What do you think about all of that? Like, what do you think? You think the towns are going to try to, you know?
I think they're going to try and cut hours and cut, I mean, obviously hire as many people as they can, but it's inexpensive. They weren't.
See, I think this. Well, let me just you know, talk about this. So, and you got to have the lifeguard stand 30 feet. I mean, I talked to, you know, that we try to do that, and I think everybody tries to move stand, but if some beaches have towers, they can't move them.
Yeah.
So I think that they worked with the state, and they said, okay, you know, you could compensate for that. You know, you could put lifeguards in the water, stuff like that. And that's another thing. You say on duty. You know, we have 1 lifeguard in the stand. We have 1 lifeguard in the water. You know, I mean, so I think that's left up to beach. But the key here is you need to have 2 lifeguards on duty, and you can't do anything. So this whole thing about overtime is a double-edged sword, because what's going to happen is before this, the towns, work as much as you want. They still tried to cut the budget, but we used to work how much overtime?
So much.
Right? You know, sounds great that you should have overtime, but now that you have overtime pay, it might hurt the lifeguards in the long run.
Unfortunately.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless the towns are forced, they can't be forced.
The little guys got to be not getting paid because they don't want to. They don't want to pay them.
And you're right. You're going to have to, you know, either cut hours, close beaches. I don't know what you're going to do. It's an interesting thing, but you can't you know, you can't have one lifeguard on a stand either. Not it says it's pretty straightforward. You know, 2 shall be on duty. So I don't know how it's going to work unless the town's going to have to come up and just pay the overtime. The state of New Jersey has mandated minimum wage. So now this year, this January, it goes to $14. Next year, it'll go to $15. So now, if I'm a business, I can't even, if I need a dishwasher, I got to pay that dishwasher $15 an hour. I mean, $14 an hour now, and I got to pay them overtime and Family Leave Act and all this happy hill shit. It's killing small business. I know it sounds like a good thing, but you're taking the free market out of business. You market bare. So now the towns.
So what do you think the solution is to help small businesses in this situation?
Well, I think that we never should have a minimum wage put into place. I think it should be let the market bear.